Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another third, fourth stimulus check unemployment benefits extension update. So we now sadly officially have one more state that is announced yesterday, or if you are watching this in the future, specifically Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021, that they will now officially be ending unemployment earlier, and that one state happens to be Maryland. I believe they announced yesterday/Tuesday, if you're watching in the future, that they will now officially be ending their unemployment, sadly, on the day right before July 4 weekend, specifically July 3rd, 2021. So now that brings the total to now officially 25 states that have confirmed that they will be ending their unemployment benefits program early than we had originally thought. So as of the time that I'm making this, now officially almost every single Republican-led state has now officially announced that they will be ending unemployment, with that one state joining in, except two. There are only two Republican-led states next, and then every other state that's now set to end unemployment that is not necessarily a Republican state is pretty much just a swing state that has Republican influence. But today I pretty much just want to talk about which states have officially ended. I want to talk about which states are very, very likely to be next on the target list that I think are really, really important to know. I do have a brief update about New York and also about North Carolina. And then I also maybe want to talk a little bit about the story with the Democratic states, about how safe they really are or what could potentially happen. Now, right now they're safe. So I want to just, think it's important to be able to take a breather. But there are actually a lot of attempts right now that a lot of Republicans are trying to find ways to, let's just say, do what they did to their state, but now in the Democratic states. And I really want to talk about that. And maybe just to end this by sharing the unemployment numbers just really, really quickly. So we're going to get right to it. But as always, the same exact rule I think most people already know by now. Consider subscribing, hitting the bell notification, smashing the like button, and feel free to comment any thoughts about, honestly, or questions or thoughts about anything at all if you've maybe received your unemployment tax refund, because it's always greatly appreciated, and I think everyone finds insight into that, so it's always great to share for that reason. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So now the 25 states that have officially confirmed that they will be ending their unemployment benefits as of right now. Now, if you know your state is already ending, feel free to just skip forward 25 to 30 seconds. But just in case, if you guys just want to know, the 25 states that have officially confirmed that they will be ending is Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota. So both states that start with the word South, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, Wyoming, New Hampshire, Florida, Nebraska, and now the most recent state is pretty much Maryland, which is going to be set to end right before July 4. Now, I believe as of this time is that there are two states that are speculated to potentially be next. These are, of course, not confirmed yet, but I believe the first state that needs to maybe be on guard is going to be Kansas. I think that there's a proposal right now. And then maybe the last state that I think is really potentially anticipated to maybe be next. Now, I hope this, everyone's able to keep, as many are able to keep as can be. But it's going to be North Carolina. I believe over the last couple of days is that there are now select Republican leaders, or just simply Republican politicians within North Carolina, that have actually officially drafted their own bill now to attempt to end unemployment. And right now, the great news is that North Carolina is safe. And the bill hasn't officially, gone through, but the fact that they already have it in writing is just something to know about. And the idea is that because North Carolina has a Democratic governor, the big thing to note is that if this actually does end up going through, the scary part is that this might potentially become the very first Democratic state to have this happen. Now, maybe onto some brighter news, maybe to potentially look forward to is that there are many states, as we just mentioned, that are doing a back-to-work bonus, including up to $2,000. I already kind of talked about that in a previous video, which I'll put at the very, very end. I think it's literally called Approved $2,000, so you can check it out if you guys haven't yet. But the idea is that we now officially have new information about two new states now that might potentially be doing this, and one of them happens to be North Carolina. So that is maybe one I think most people would rather keep their unemployment, but it's at least something to know is that they may be trying to do a get back to work bonus, if that is something something of interest. And interestingly, one state that's looking to do a back-to-work bonus is actually, interestingly, New York. And so I think that it's a little bit interesting because right now, as of this time, I think New York does plan to keep their unemployment. So if they're able to actually do their back-to-work bonus, the great news is that for anyone that's in New York, and I'm also in New York, so I'm a little bit biased there, but the idea is that if you happen to be from New York and this actually does go through, the really, really great news is you might actually be able to have an option now, actually. So you might actually potentially now be able to choose whether or not you want to go back to work or to stay on unemployment, which is maybe one of the brighter news. And there's a lot of talks that there may be other states that might be doing something similar as well. The states that are planning, of course, to keep their unemployment program, but maybe just doing also a back-to-work bonus for just giving people an option if they really want to do that also. Now, the story with a lot of the Democratic states right now is that while a lot of them, I think it's fair to say the great news is that they are safe, the story right now is that there are a lot of Republicans right now that are trying to preach, especially Republican leaders within Democratic states. So for example, North Carolina is probably the example we just used, but the idea right now is that they are trying to write letters and proposals, and some of it has already officially been documented. So there is a physical bill right now that's going on in certain Democratic states that they are essentially trying to get through in order to now end it there too. I don't think it's likely to be approved. I do, however, think that if you are from one of the more on the edge kind of swing states, it is something to kind of be on guard about. I think the idea is that really that if you happen to be from a Democratic state, the great news is that it's relatively safe to be able to breathe. However, it is important to notice is that there may be now attempts to try to get at them also. And I think that's the big thing to know about. North Carolina, of course, just had their proposal. Maryland, which has technically a lot of Democratic influence. I mean, I'm pretty sure Maryland did go Democrat during the presidential election and also during the Senate. But of course, they do have a Republican governor. I think the important thing is to be on guard because it does look like they are now drafting proposals and trying to now move in to a lot of the blue states as well. But aside from that, the unemployment numbers did recently come out. If you guys are interested, they're right here. Essentially, I believe 385,000 people filed for traditional unemployment. It's the first time, I believe, it finally reached under 400,000 since spring of last year. So they are now setting a new record. I believe slightly under, I think, 100,000 people filed for PUA. So in total, we literally have now right around 400 something thousand people get onto unemployment, and that's actually a brand new record low for, I believe, pretty much since early the first half of last year. And again, this happens to be important is because they may be using a lot of these numbers in order to decide what they actually do with the unemployment programs in a lot of these states going forward. But aside from that, that's pretty much just what I really wanted to share. Maybe consider smashing the like button if you guys, found that relatively insightful. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos like this. We may go back to other kinds of just general finance topics, so a huge heads up to that. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.